Hello everybody, this is Tactical Lich here and welcome to another battle replay. Today we'll be looking at a battle between the Lizardman and the Beastman, sent in by viewer Aflarian. I have not watched this replay just yet, but all I know is that this game will be close. So without further ado, let's go into the army builds and go straight into the action. For the Lizardman army build, we have a pretty wide build here, with a couple chameleon skinks on both flanks. In the middle, 3 skink cohorts with javelins, and some Saurus backbone, the Legion of Chaqua. Now for mobility, Code 1 Spear Riders on both flanks, supporting Kroq-Gar on Grim-loq. With Hand of the Gods and his other buffs and abilities, he will be a certain menace to the Beastman monsters. As for the other monstrosity that the Dino boys will field, Bastillodon with the Arc of Sotek, very nice choice there, especially with the poison and vortex ability to grind through blobs of infantry chaff from the Beastmen. Now Bastillodon with Solar Engine, also a very good pick with the energy blasting away Beastman units, both blob and monsters. For spell support, we have the Skink Priest of Beasts with the Manticore Summon and a Doom Flock. As for the Beastman player, we have a bunch of Vanguard troops, Ungor Spearman Herd on the flank and also the rear of the Lizardman. In the forest, dogs, of course, they are great for chasing down chameleon units. As for the infantry, also a very wide build here with a whole line of Gore Herds and Ungor Herds. Also Ungor Spearmans just mixed together and just using that numbers to overwhelm the Lizard boys. At the back, 4 Ungor Raiders. Now these guys are not exactly armor piercing, but they do have the strength in numbers, and with enough arrows they can still bring down some heavily armored dinos. As for leadership and monstrosity for the Beastmen, the Bloodbrute Behemoth, the Regiment of Renowned Gorgon with regeneration and excellent combat stats. Now for leadership, we have the Taurox the Brass Bull, of course. Facing off Grim-loq, these two melee beasts will be meeting each other one-on-one in battle. It will certainly be a bloodbath of monster dueling. We also have a Death Shaman on the Chariot, Tuskor Chariot, and that's basically it for the army builds. As the battle begins, the Solar Engine pushes forward, trying to get into range to aim down the Beastman units, charges a shot and goes straight into the Gore Herd, stripping away a few models, leaving them dead on the ground and also a scorch mark. Now on this one flank, some Chaos Warhounds are surging forward, probably trying to spot any chameleon units, and they did, charging into the chameleon stalkers. However, this is not a good engagement for them whatsoever, as the chameleon stalkers do have decent melee stats with the help of their explosives and their melee stats debuff coming in from their poison damage. Chameleon stalkers are pretty good anti-hound units. The Chaos Warhounds are taking some quite significant damage, one of them even routing already. The rest of the Beastman army is surging forward. Taurox as well as the Bloodbrute are pushing into the fray, going after Kroq-Gar, trying to snipe him out with the help of some Spirit Leech. Now don't get me wrong, Kroq-Gar is an amazing melee combatant, but with 3 single entities coming straight for him, he doesn't even stand a chance. The Bloodbrute isn't quite in there yet, but with 2 other single entities, all with armor piercing, coming straight for him, surrounding him, also Bloodbrute Behemoth finally getting into combat. The Beastman units are cutting through his health like hot knife through butter. Taurox took some damage, but Kroq-Gar down to 40% of his health. Kroq-Gar has to pull back, especially there's no healing in this battle. The Beastman single entities will easily break apart the Lizardman forces in this pocket, though the Solar Engine doing some sharpshooting work against the Beastman single entities here. On the other flank, the Beastman seems to have ran into quite a bit of a speed bump, as the skink cohorts are still holding, and Chaos Warhounds not exactly breaking these stalkers just yet. However, the Ungor Raiders are able to do some pretty decent damage on the Arc of Sotek with their mass volume of arrows. Over here, the Feral Manticore has dived into combat, charged straight for Taurox, and his health is dropped quite a bit, presumably from the Bastillodon with Solar Engine and Hand of the Gods. Oh my god! Taurox the Brass Bull getting a massive hit from the Hand of the Gods, a shotgun straight to the face, down to around 25% of his health, being surrounded by the Legion of Chaqua, and with Kroq-Gar close support, he is not in his element, surrounded by anti-large infantry. Of course, the Bloodbrute will be helping out to kill off Kroq-Gar, but the Legion of Chaqua, really good screening there, pushing away Taurox, while Kroq-Gar and the Spears are just grinding down that Bloodbrute. The Ark of Sotak successfully pushing through the Gore-herds and into the Beastmen backlines. One of the units is still firing, however, the heavy armor means that they will be doing minimal damage, but over here, the Cold One Spear Riders charge into combat surrounding Taurox as well as the Blood Brute. Taurox, being a large unit, is very vulnerable to the armor-piercing anti-large damage and is routed. Kroq-Gar is not in any good shape as well, but he has emerged victorious in this engagement. In stark contrast, the Blood Brute being isolated and swarmed by all these Cold One Spears, anti-large armor piercing, he will be going down fast, especially with the Bastiladon blasting away using the blinding laser to lower his stats and morale. And with the close Cold One Spear Rider presence, he will probably be chased off soon enough, while Kroq-Gar valiantly hunting down this Brave Shaman of Death, preventing him to come back to use any sneaky spells on him, while the Cold One Spears dive straight into combat against the Ungor Raiders and also the Gore-herds, just screening them out, allowing Kroq-Gar to isolate and finish off the Brave Shaman. Now back to the Beastmen's right flank, their attack seems to be blunted. The Ungor Raiders are on the run, trying to get away from the Ark of Sotak. The Spearmen herd unable to break through the skink cohorts, as they still have around 40% of health left, not exactly wavering. And at the back, the Blood Brute is shattered by the Cold One Spears. Also, this one Spearman herd is not exactly getting into combat to generate the value of bogging down any key targets. Taurox, although he is coming back and going straight for, it seems, the Bastiladon with Solar Engine, I'm not sure is it a good idea, as they are shooting their blow darts into Taurox, chipping away his health, and also those armor-piercing counter-attack will do a number on his health as well. Being so low in HP, Taurox needs to be conserving his HP for the key engagement, namely killing off Kroq-Gar, as there is nothing on the field that can kill him right now. With 95 armor and still 1000 HP left, he's not in the best of his shape, but with the help of Bastiladon, Ark of Sotak, and his mighty Fear and Terror on his Grim-loq mount, Ungor Spearman herd will be routing, and it's just mass exodus of Beastmen troops at this point. Everything is just running for the hills. The Bastiladon sitting behind a tree, pretty weird spot to shoot, but he's still aiming at Taurox, trying to finish him off. The shot didn't hit the tree, but it didn't hit Taurox either. The rest of the Beastmen units are pretty much scattered around the battlefield. Not much can be finishing Kroq-Gar. Only maybe if Taurox get a lucky hit? I'm not sure. Even then, the Beastmen will have a hard time killing off all the dinos with all the powerful single entities. The Bastiladon with Solar Engine is still almost full health. The Cold One Spear Riders and the Chameleon Stalkers are obtaining the upper hand in the mobility game. The Ungor Raiders are getting blasted and grind down by the infantry of the Lizardman. They still have a bit of mobility, the Chaos Warhounds, to chase off routing units, but with Taurox being finished off by Kroq-Gar, there's simply no hope for the Beastmen to turn the tables around. Let's have a look at the final clash of the two giants, and Grim-loq pummels Taurox. Kroq-Gar is smashing him to the ground. Well, there's a little bit of a friendly fire from the Bastiladon, but Grim-loq stands tall, roaring victoriously. And that's basically the end for the Beastmen, as the leadership debuff from the Deadlord routes every nearby Beastmen unit. The last of them will be finished off, and also just running for the hills. This one unit of Ungor Spearmen is still pretty damn healthy, but an Ungor herd with spears can only do so much. Ungor Raiders somehow just pushing forward. I don't know why, they seem to be wanting to go into melee, and they're just shooting into Bastiladon, but they do not even have enough ammo to kill off the unit. So let's just fast forward and see the Beastmen's last stand getting hunted down by all the Lizardman units, and that is game. Tonight, Grim-loq shall feast on Taurox's brass body. Before you go into the post-battle performances, I'd like to say a big thanks to Aetherion for sending in this replay. It's really fun to see those large giant monsters dueling each other in close melee combat. And of course, thank you all viewers for watching this video. If you like it, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe to get notified every time I upload a video. The topics will be ranging from battle replays like this one, wild army builds, and also tips and strategies for online multiplayer. If you want to have your own replay showcased on this channel, feel free to drop by my Discord or send me an email and drop me a replay file. Now let's go into the army performances. For the Lizardmen here, the Chameleon Stalkers, They didn't really earn back their value here. However, one very important role for these guys is to clear out the chaff. Of course, they do not have a lot of amazing value, but the explosive darts, their decent combat stats, and poison allows them to fight back some hounds and puny Ungor spears and Ungor hurts with okay efficiency. Of course, they are not some dedicated anti-infantry unit, but compared to their chameleon skinks counterpart with only blow dot and maybe some poison attacks, they certainly perform much better against the light mobility threat that the beastmen might field on the battlefield. As for the Bastillodons, the Arc of Sotak almost earning back their value, but 2 chevrons up and 148 kills. They are certainly infantry blob killing machines with their poison vortex attack. As for the Bastillodon with Solar Engine, doing some really nice sniping work, shooting the single entities of the Beastmen consistently throughout the whole battle, sniping out Taurox with the laser attacks, and also the Blood Brute. Of course, the laser beam is more of an anti-infantry tool. However, one of the very key aspects of the solar beam is the blinding effect, lowering the attack and melee stats of the units being hit by the artillery, successfully keeping Taurox and the Blood Brute in a relatively fragile state with their lowered melee stats, allowing the follow-up from the Code 1 Spear Riders and Kroq-Gar to do a very effective counterpunch. And as a result, one of the Code 1 Spear Riders earned back over 1,100 value. These ones a little bit less value, but 72 kills, pretty impressive themselves. As for the rest of the Lizardman infantry, 400 on these skink cohorts, 372, 300. Not the best performance throughout the skink cohorts. The Ungor herds are okay in melee combat, so skink cohorts are pretty much fighting some enemies on par with them. For the Legion of Chaqua, 860 value, they're mostly there to provide anti-large support as an infantry for the single entities here, to support the monster fights, and that is exactly what they did. They were just surrounding Taurox the Brass Bull and following Kroq-Gar wherever he goes, plunging straight into combat, fight off the hordes of Beastmen infantry, as well as grinding down, chipping away the monsters with their anti-large attacks. For the Lizardman leadership, the Skink Priest not earning a lot of value, as his main purpose was to summon the Manticore to dive bomb the single entities of the Beastmen. Manticore not a dedicated armor-piercing unit, but they do have pretty decent weapon strength, packing quite a heavy punch on any single entity models if they get a decent charge. As for Kroq-Gar, mostly getting hunted down by a bunch of single entities still, as a formidable fighter, 2,000 value from the Grim-loq and his Hand of the Gods. His laser shotgun really blasting down Taurox in close range. Now for the Beastmen, the single entities are the core of the army. The Blood Brute and Taurox are responsible for hunting down all the large monsters. They were almost successful in killing Kroq-Gar right there and basically ending the game for the Lizardman. However, Aetherion shows excellent micro and tenacity right there, pulling back Kroq-Gar, sacrificing some of the Lizardman units, including one Code 1 Spear Riders, to basically hold back one flank of the Lizardman hordes of infantry, luring away Taurox and the Blood Brute into deeper surround of his own troops. In the battle that Kroq-Gar pulled away, and Taurox and the Blood Brute soon gave chase, trying to finish him off. This has proven to be a mistake, as they were isolated from their own army support, being surrounded by Code 1 spears and also shot by the Bastillodon solar engine. They were actually focused down by all that Lizardman infantry and cavalry support. This goes to show that even if you suffer a heavy loss in one of the engagements, your key unit is almost dead, you still have a fighting chance. What you need to do is to make necessary sacrifice, say one unit of infantry or some even expensive cavalry like the Code 1 Spear Riders, and save your key units. Or in other words, winning condition, and in this case, Kroq-Gar. He's pretty much the only unit in the whole Lizardman army that can 1v1 Taurox or the Blood Brute. If they lose this key lord of the army, it will be an uphill battle for the Lizardman. However, Aetherion pulled him back, turning the engagement into a more favorable one, using whatever he can, the Hand of the Gods, the Bastillodons, the cavalry and infantry, to slowly turn things around, turning the tide of the battle, and in the end finishing off Taurox and the Blood Brute. So in the end, Taurox didn't really manage to get too much value here, only above 1,000. Considering himself being quite an expensive lord, this is not worth it. Same for the Blood Brute, an expensive beast, but only 50 kills and 1300 value. And all the single entities of the Lizardmen are still alive. Now for the rest of the Beastman army, the infantry here didn't really manage to earn too much value as they were only fighting a bunch of chameleons. The Ungor herds are not able to carry the battle by themselves, losing all these powerhouse units really put the dent in the leadership and balance of power. The Gore herds didn't really perform too well either. Ungor raiders here, they were trying to focus down the Bastillodons, however they have way too much armor for their arrows to penetrate. They did some decent damage to the Ark of Sotek, but that's basically it. Hounds, in this particular battle, not a single unit is good for them to fight. The Chameleon Stalkers are decent fighters, and then the Skink Cohorts are pretty decent melee units themselves as well, and they have no hope in fighting and winning against a bunch of monsters, so they were mostly there to maybe rear charge and chase down routing units. Got a bit value, but not a lot. For the caster, the Brave Shaman of Death earned back some value with the Spirit Leeches on Kroq-Gar, but unable to finish him off, and actually in the end, he got finished by a Hound of the Gods after being severely damaged by Kroq-Gar. So that's basically it for the Beastman army. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, and if you have any units that you want me to feature in my future Wild Army builds video, feel free to leave a comment down below, let me know what you think, and yeah, that's basically it for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Tactical Lich, signing out.